Hey everyone on Project Positive Change. This is Sam Livermore, Gladiator of Love, helping you fall in love with yourself on a deeper level because from that place miracles can happen. So, hey everyone, how you doing? Today I am talking about what are the first three things that you do when you get up in the morning. Now, if you'd have seen my Facebook Live yesterday where I was talking about self-love and I was talking a little bit about the biology of cortisol and that being the stress hormone in your body, and how when you say I love you, that releases endorphins that reduce the amount of cortisol in your body. Well, let's talk a little bit about more about cortisol today and a study that was done a few years ago and how that relates to what happens when you get up in the morning. Now, cortisol is a naturally produced hormone in everybody's bodies. It is the stress hormone. And as I said yesterday, people with depression or high anxiety or autoimmune conditions, cortisol is very, very high in their bodies, they've discovered, because your body is like in a fight or flight all the time. So we do have cortisol in our body naturally, because we need that to actually, give us some energy to run away from stuff and things like that. However, when we wake up in the morning, that is when the cortisol is naturally at its highest, because our body releases cortisol in the last few hours of our sleep cycle. So when we wake up, it is at a high peak. When I was doing HeartMath training a few years ago, we learned about this study connected to cortisol and how they was trying to reduce it in people in a natural way. And what we learned was, because that peak is like at its highest when you get up in the morning, naturally cortisol subsides after in the first 2 hours when you get up. It just naturally sort of returns to a baseline state. And what they did is they took a group of normal office worker people who were all working in a high stress environment, all doing very, very similar jobs in a high stress environment. And they was men and women, different ages. And for a week, they measured all of their cortisol levels once in the morning when they got up, and then again in the middle of the day, and then again in the evening. And they found that they was all along similar sort of lines. And the one in the morning where it was a peak state, as usual, the midday one was still quite high. It didn't drop enough. It didn't return to baseline as it would in a normal non-stressed person. And the evening again, it was lower, but not how it should be. So what they did is they done that for a week. They measured all of their levels so they could get a baseline. And then on the second week, they split them into 3 groups. So there was one group that just carried on as normal and they was testing their cortisol levels. Then they took one group, and what they had to do was, when they first woke up in the morning, within the first 10 minutes of waking up, they had to do 3 minutes of deep breathing. So similar like a meditation breath. So they done 3 minutes before doing anything else. They just sat really gently and they did like deep belly breaths and slowly release, and they did that for 3 minutes. And then they measured their cortisol levels. And then that was that one group's thing to do. In the morning, measure their cortisol levels, and then at some point during their working day, they would have to go off and do this 3 minutes of breathing again before they measured their cortisol. Now, the third group, what they did with those is, for the first half an hour when they got up in the morning, they wasn't allowed to look at their phones. So they wasn't allowed to look at their phone or emails or turn on the TV or news. They could do whatever, morning tasks that they did, but they wasn't to look at anything connected to do with work or look at their phones or anything like that. And then they measured their cortisol levels, and they continued. Now, they'd done this study in total for a month. So there was one group just carried on where they measured their cortisol like normal. And surprise, surprise, what did they find? The groups that was just doing the breathing in the morning and the midday, their cortisol levels returned to a baseline really, really quickly within that set time that it was supposed to, but quicker than it would normally subside. The group that was not looking at their phones or anything like that for that first half an hour, their cortisol did lower, but not as much as the people who did the deep breathing, but it did return to a lower baseline quicker than the people who was just carrying on like their normal selves. So that shows you in the long term what we are doing as a society. When we get up in the morning, a lot of people, the very first thing they're doing is grabbing their phones to see what's happened, looking at their emails as they're trying to eat their breakfast, worrying about work as soon as they wake up in the morning. So my invitation to you is to try this for 1 week. When you get up in the morning, for the first half an hour, change your routine. So even if you can incorporate one of those things into your routine, it is going to lower your stress levels and your cortisol levels, and it is going to make a big difference. So I would suggest those 3 things. This is my routine when I get up for the first half an hour of the day. So when I get up, I go and make a green tea. That's the first thing I do, is I make a green tea. I don't have coffee, I make a green tea. And then I spend the first 10 minutes in silent meditation, just doing deep breathing, silent meditation. And then I do positive affirmations. So I have a little journal where I have belief statements and positive affirmations, and I go through and read all of that stuff. So I'm consciously filling my mind with all the positive stuff and not worrying about what do I need to do today. And I don't switch on my phone for at least the first half an hour if I can manage it. But for the first half an hour of the day, I don't have any phone on at all, and I don't have the radio on or anything. And actually, if I have people stay in my house, I have to warn them the night before that for the first half an hour, I don't do any talking. So just so they know that I don't do words for the first 30 minutes. So that is my invitation to you. Your suggestion is to shake up your morning routine a little bit and incorporate those 3 things into your first half an hour of the day and see what a difference it makes. But try it for at least 1 week and see how much difference you can change your day just by doing those 3 things differently in the morning. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for joining me today. And if you would like to find out more about me and my self-love practice, there's 2 places you can find me. You can find me at samlivermore.com, and you can also find me at sharetheloveletters.com. On tomorrow's live, I'm going to be talking a bit more about Share the Love Letters and my non-profit movement and how you can get involved in that too. Right, so have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.